How do I teach my son to control his anger? The reason why I'm doing this podcast is because of an incident, a deadly incident that happened right here in my city, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I want to kick to this video. I want you to see this video, and then I want to come back and talk about what you can do as a father to stop something like this from happening.
What are you doing? Stay down on the ground. Don't move. Walk the street. Stay on the ground.
That's it. That's the video. That's the video. The young man, if you didn't get to read the text in the beginning, is Elijah Wilkes, 26 years old. 26 years old. Gets into a little fender bender with an off-duty police officer. Pistol whips, that's how they described it, the police officer. Then points his gun at the police officer. And then from there, it's on. How do you stop something like this from happening to your son? I got a 30-year-old son was 4 years older than this kid. So I'm just not talking out the side of my neck and just talking about some stuff I don't know what I'm talking about, and not talking from a frame of reference that I don't know. Okay? My son recently, he got into a little incident with some people, and he called me like, yo, Dad, man, before this gets out, I want you to know here, here's what happened, this and that. I'm like, when we talked about it, we chopped it up, and I kept him real. I told him, I said, man, nowadays, you can't fight with somebody and win because people can't take an ass whooping. So it's not safe, but but on the same tokens, you got to defend yourself. It's not a joke out here. It's not a joke out here. You just seen it. Did he know that this guy was an off-duty police officer? No, he didn't know. He let his anger dictate his choices and his actions. Let's keep it real. I don't. That's what we do here. We're all men. He thought he could punk this dude. He thought it was sweet. He thought he was rolling up on somebody. You know what I'm saying? He could punk. Well, no. It didn't work out that way. It didn't work out that way. It worked out real bad for him. Did he deserve that? No, he didn't deserve that. He didn't, he didn't wake up. Well, let me take that back. What happened to him, you did deserve, because you did something that if somebody had done to you, you would have did the same thing to him. If that police officer would have walked up to you and smacked you in the face with a gun and then pointed at you, the same thing might have happened. So, yes, I got it. Even his own family said he was wrong. He was wrong, and they're not upset at the officer. Because when he raised his gun up at him, he could have shot at the officer. You watch the video. Go back and watch it again. He wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. So look, if you F around, you're going to find out. And I just want to say this about guns. A lot of you out there, you guys get your little guns, you get your little CD, whatever, concealed and carry, and now you think you something. Now you want to use your gun. Now you want to walk around with it. Look, man, if you're not trained, and if you're not trained with the weapon and you're not trained up here, you don't need to have a gun. If he wouldn't have had a gun, he would still be alive today. That gun got him killed. The gun he had got him killed because he didn't know how to control his anger. So what do you do? What do you do as a father? How do you combat this? How do you teach your son how to deal with his anger? Number one, stop coddling his emotions. Anger is a normal emotion, but destructive anger, that's what this was. Destructive. He had nothing constructive. He had no motivation but to do something stupid. Can get you killed, can get you hurt, can get someone else hurt. Do not make excuses for your child now, your young child throwing temper tantrums and outbursts. Don't make excuses for that. Don't make excuses for that.
Hey, look at me. This behavior stops right now. You do not act like this in front of your friends.
That's the number one thing you need to do. Do not make excuses for destructive anger. No, you will not do that. You got to G-check that. You got to cut that out. That's a cancer. You got to cut that out. It's not cute. It's not cute for some little boy to be doing stuff that he thinks that men should do. No, men can control themselves. Men can control their anger, can control their emotions. Why couldn't he just have got out and be like, oh man, was that my fault? Was that your fault? I don't know, man. Man, how's your car? Okay. Let's deal with this like man, you know what I mean? No. How come he couldn't do that? Instead of getting out, calling a man names and then slapping him across the face with his gun and then pointing it at him. What is this? Is it a movie? No, this is real life. And in real life, you can be shot and killed over something this silly. That's real life. That's real life. So you as a father, you have to see these things in the beginning and stop them. When you see these things, do not reward this type of behavior. Do not think, oh man, he hard, man, he tough, man, he don't take no mess from nobody. After you stop coddling them and just let them know, hey man, I'm not any kind of destructive anger, you throwing stuff, you breaking stuff, or you trying to fight people because you mad. No. After you get rid of that, now it's time to be the detective. You got to figure out, is he frustrated? Is something that he's doing making him so angry that it's too difficult? It's just not working for him. So he gets angry. My son, when stuff gets too angry, he likes to quit. And I said, no, it's not happening. Or when he can't do what he wants to, well, I'll just quit then. I just won't do it then. No, you're not. You're going to go do that. You know, you're going to do it now, even more now that you just told me you're going to quit. Is he scared? Is he scared? Does he have, some type of anxiety about what's going to happen? So he uses his anger as a shield against being vulnerable, against saying, yo, I'm scared. The one thing I can say about my son, he wears his heart on his sleeve. If he's scared, he gonna let you know. He gonna start crying. He gonna do whatever. And hey, man, we just deal with it. But some people don't. They get upset. They get angry. They use that. They don't show that they're vulnerable. You know people like that. You know grown men like that right now. Are you like that? Are you like that as a grown man? Are you like that, Dad? Do you when you get scared or you have some type of anxiety, now you just get even mad, you get angry? Does he feel powerless? Does he feel like does he feel like he's all alone? Does he feel like he just can't do this thing? Nobody cares. These outbursts come to distract from what's really bothering him. How many people they get embarrassed, they get talked about, they get their feelings hurt, now they want to fight? Y'all know people like that. Y'all got friends like that. You might even been like that. When things don't go your way, I want to fight now. It's them fighting words. Yeah. Somebody gonna deal with this. Cause I can't deal with it. So I'm ready to fight now. No. The the third thing, he's gotta learn how to harness his energy. He's gonna either be a slave to anger or a master of it. Elijah was a slave to anger. He was a slave to it. You look at that was so quick, and that wasn't even a big deal. It wasn't even it doesn't even look like the cars got damaged in it. He was a slave to anger. You want to teach your son how to be a master at anger. Things that upset him, you teach him how to use that to either diffuse the situation or to motivate him to better the situation, but not turn up and cause the situation to be even worse. Dude, that wasn't even a big deal type of an accident. It wasn't a big deal. They both could have walked away. Well, here's your insurance, here's my insurance, or man, everything cool, man. It ain't no big deal. Just cause, man, just handshake, man, bounce. Go on about your business. It could have been that easy. But it ended up the way it ended up because he was a slave to his anger. The fourth and final thing is you have to be the role model. You have to teach your son how to deal with anger. And it's not yelling and screaming out at everybody and making the whole house scared. No, because you're scared, because things aren't going right for you. So now you're going to turn up and make the whole house, crazy. No, that's not how you deal with it. You have to, kids learn from, I'm going to say it 100 times, from observation, imitation, and repetition. They learn from you. You're the biggest teacher. Stop thinking you sending your kids to school is that's all you got to do. They're going to learn everything from some little school teacher. No, they're not. They're learning from you. That's who they learn from the most. You. They learn the most from you. If you're their father, your son is going to learn the most from you. And if you don't do nothing, that means he's not learning shit. That's who they learn from. So if you're not doing anything, they haven't learned shit from you. And I know a lot of people want to say, they always want to say how black fathers aren't around, and fathers aren't around everywhere, up and down the board, all races. It's not just black fathers. Okay, stop that. We dead in that. We dead in that. Okay, that's stop using other races for your insecurities and your stuff. Go deal with your crap. But any man who has a child, just know that they're learning from you, not just your sons, your daughters too. That's a whole nother podcast. So you are the most important role model. No exceptions. You're at the top. That's where they learn from. And I got a story that relates to that. I'm 52 years old. My father is 89 years old. Still driving, still doing his thing. But at 89 years old, you're going to lose a couple things. And sometimes he forgets things. So we made a deposit for some funds into his account that should have been allocated to me. He did it. Didn't quite remember how much it was. And, he brought me some of the funds, and I'm like, this ain't this not enough. Like Smokey told his mama when she sent him to the store, he like, what am I supposed to do with this? And he was kind of like, but he was cool. He didn't say, he wasn't like his mama to tell her to make it enough. He was like, oh, he just couldn't remember. He was like, and I had to tell him how much it was. So then the next day I did it again. I told him, hey, I want, and then he's like, how much money do you want? Like we never had the previous conversation. This went on for days, another day. So the third day, I asked him about it. I brought him the paperwork, tried to kind of show him. He like, well, why are you here? Why are you asking for more money? Like, why? I'm like, because we spoke about it. You said so then we just began to argue. And in the mix of that argument, I'm looking at him. I'm like, is this how I am? Is this who I am when I start to argue with people? Because I'm like, I don't like this. And I'm not really liking him right now. So it was getting pretty heated. It was getting pretty bad where even my sister had to come down and kind of split us up. I was like, you know what? Forget it. I was going to leave. But then, he calmed down and was like, let's go to the bank and get everything figured out. And before we even got to the bank, we had another argument. But at his core, I know my dad is a great dude. And me, at my core, I feel like I'm a good dude. So I just had to learn. I just had to kind of humble myself and go with the flow. Go with the flow, be calm, try to get through that day, get through that situation. But if you don't have those tools, that situation could have been really bad. That could have been really bad between a son and a father. If I didn't know how to control my anger, if he didn't know, even a man who's kind of, losing his memory, this and that, if he didn't know, what could have that, how bad could have that situation have been? So I say all this to say that you are the role model for your son. If my father wouldn't have showed me way back in the day how to how to handle things, he would have been, he would have handled things differently. that argument could have been a whole lot worse, and I would have handled stuff differently. And it made me think about my sons. I don't want to be that way to them. I don't want them to ever go through that. I had anxiety about dealing with that situation for days. I'm not gonna lie, because I kind of knew what was coming. When you know a person, you kind of know what's coming, and it was tough because you don't want to see like your hero like that. But the tools he gave me years ago helped me through that. Nobody else helped me through it. Nobody else helped me get through that day with him but him. You heard what I said? Nobody helped me get through that day with him but him. You are the man. You are the person that will help your son not go through something like Elijah Wilkes' family is going through. You got to do that. Whether you the uncle, the father, the grandfather, the big bro, teach him how to deal with his anger because his life depends on it. Just say he survived. He was going to jail. He wasn't going home. He was going to jail. It was all bad either way. He wasn't going to get in his car and go home after you slapped a cop in the face with a gun and point a gun at him. You going to jail. Teach your sons how to deal with their anger because their life depends on it. That is this episode of the Raise the Carter podcast telling you, you are the most important person. You are the teacher. You're not just a father. You're the teacher. You are the bridge between home and the real world. Your job is to teach, whether you like it or not. So if you're listening to this on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you listen to podcasts, man, I hope you got some value. I hope you got something from this. I hope this taught you something. I hope it made you realize something. It did for me. So I'm out of here. Peace.